Broadcasting live from an undisclosed location. This is the TCMMA Podcast with your host, Chris Cross.
Whoa!
Dana White privilege.
Let's go, baby! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go, baby!
Dana White privilege. Privilege. Privilege.
What up, what up? This your boy Chris Cross checking in. This is the TC MMA Podcast. We are live. And what a night it was last night at UFC 325. So we got to break down the whole card on today's show, including where in the heck was Dana White last night? This is what it's funny, the topics that come out after the fact. And it's like, you know, you're watching the UFC press conference and it's like you got all the fighters coming out, you're waiting a couple hours, and it's like, well, where's Dana White? Because that's really who we want to hear from, right? We want to hear from Dana White. But he wasn't there. He was in Las Vegas ahead of tonight's Zuffa Boxing 2. And they had Zuffa Boxing 1 that went well. Now it's the second phase, the second show, and this is going to continue and only get better over time. And you got some people like Oscar De La Hoya panicking. I mean, he's just panicking, posting a scathing assessment of Dana White's Zuffa boxing card debut. And he's worried. I mean, that's the bottom line, because when Dana White gets involved, it's good. Already it's starting to get organized. You know, I'm looking up stats and things like that, and I don't see that quite yet, but there's only been one show. But it's already it's just being organized, and it's only going to get better and better and better. And Dana White will be looking to create a place of, you know, where fighters can come and box, and we all know who the champion is, we know who the contenders are, and eventually, hopefully, Zuffa boxing takes over and revives boxing. And, you know, De La Hoya is concerned because it wasn't exciting enough. You know, if you watch a UFC event, we're not waiting an hour for the main event to happen after the co-main event, like in boxing, where you got to have singers come out and you got to have this whole thing going. We're not doing all that. We're getting to the fights. And that's where the entertainment is. No one cares about a singer coming out or a dance going on in between fights. We want to see the fight, you know. So De La Hoya is panicking, and that's what that's all about. But Dana White, not in attendance, because he skipped UFC 325 to be in Las Vegas. And you know what? It's all good, man. It's all good. Dana White's doing his thing. And if he's not there, he's not there. He's at most of them. This one's in Australia. That's a long plane flight for a busy dude like Dana White. I mean, you're talking full day or two up, full day or two back, you know, then your hours are all messed up. So, you know, it is what it is. He wasn't there. But UFC 325, and we got some other topics to get to here in a minute, but it went off perfectly. The Australian crowd was great. And let's just jump right into the title fight last night, Volkanovski and Diego Lopez. This was a long fight. We did the play-by-play, but here's how the decision went last night. And after falling in the main event last week, we should be right back in the win column. And Lopez is holding up Volkanovski's hand. You might know the same thing. So let's break this down. Total strikes 100 to 73, Volkanovski. Significant strikes 80 to 68, Volkanovski. Head strikes, Volkanovski led there too, 60 to 38. And control time was like 2 minutes apiece. Both guys had 2 takedowns. Volkanovski 1 submission attempt, which is crazy because we just saw Diego Lopez have like 3 submission attempts, but he didn't get credit for any of them. So, very close fight going into the 5th round. And I think this crowd would lose its mind if Volkanovski didn't win this fight. So we'll see how close it was on the judges' scorecards. I believe Volk won the last 2 rounds. I'm really curious to see how many judges had it 2-1 Lopez in the first 3. That will be a 48-47 for Volk if we get one of those. Should get a 49-46 in there. Here we go. Lopez has his hand up. He's not winning this thing. 49-46 on 2 and 50-45. Yeah. Volk's loving that. He knows. And still Volkanovski, king of the featherweight division, at least when Ilia Topuria is not around. So Volkanovski retains the belt, first title fight of the year. Brazil can't get it done, even though they often do. Volkanovski retains the belt, and this guy's a Hall of Famer, right? As he's limping around now, he's 28-4, and this is a signature win in front of the home crowd, and he's going to keep fighting, but I wouldn't be surprised if you just go out right now. I mean, you're at the top of your game. So Volkanovski wins the title, or retains the title, here at UFC 320. Yeah, so that happened at UFC 325 last night. Volkanovski defending the featherweight title again 8 times. Ties Jose Aldo. So he's not leaving yet. He's going to try to defend it a 9th time at least. But he's 37 years old. He still has time. And that was a big question mark going into last night. Will the age catch up with him? And clearly that's not happening just yet. You listen to the numbers. He looked phenomenal. I mean, he just dominated that fight. So Volkanovski getting off last night, defending the belt, and the story continues. Now in the co-main, you had a good one here. I mean, Dan Hooker versus Benoit Saint Denis. How's this going to go? Could Dan Hooker defend the takedowns? He did through the first round, but then in the second round, the takedowns he could no longer defend, and this is how this fight finished up. And if you're Saint Denis, this is just what you want to continue doing right here. Forget about submissions right now. This is where you're getting the most out of it. He's pounding away now. The ref is starting to look at it. Dan Hooker's blocking a lot of them, but still. And Saint Denis right back to the triangle. Having trouble getting the finish. I mean, Dan Hooker's a tough dude, man. Not only taking the ground and pound, but also just making it through and fighting through submissions. It's crazy. 30 seconds left, and Saint Denis just pounding away here. Boy, and Dan Hooker's in a little trouble. Now the ref's saying fight back. Yep. This is what Saint Denis got to continue to do. Just pound away. 20 seconds left. The ref is looking at it. Herb Dean is looking at it. And there's no fight back from Dan Hooker, and that's it. Benoit Saint Denis finishes Dan Hooker. Wow. 4 straight finishes for Saint Denis, and that might be a UFC record right now. We'll have to look. But Benoit Saint Denis, a man from France, comes in here and silences the Australian crowd with the ground and pound to get the TKO win to move to 17-3. Unbelievable, y'all. Just flat out unbelievable. That's the way it finishes. We'll be back soon with the main event. Yeah, so just a phenomenal performance by him last night. And, man, so he looks good. And all these guys that got finishes that didn't get, if you get a performance bonus, you get 100K. If you don't get the performance bonus and you get a finish, you get 25K. So all these guys are getting some type of bonus. Make no mistake about it. So an impressive night for him last night. And then in fight 3, you had Mauricio Ruffy with a dominant performance over Fiziev. Check this out. Nice leg kick by Fiziev. And he's been the aggressor, constantly moving forward. But he's got to pick up the pace. There's another leg kick by Fiziev. Takes a left jab from Ruffy. Oh, big right by Ruffy. Fiziev's in trouble. No. Mauricio pounding away now. Now Fiziev trying to stay in this thing. Ruffy trying to get the finish here, but Fiziev having trouble getting back to his feet, and he's taking some hammers. And man, the ref is really looking at this. 40 seconds left in the round. That's a long time. Oh! And Fiziev's in trouble. He goes down on his back. Ruffy pounding away, and that's it. Wow. Mauricio Ruffy finishes Rafael Fiziev. Oh my gosh. And Fiziev lays on his back, probably a little upset, probably doesn't want to get back to his feet right now because of the strikes that he just took. And he was doing everything to try to stay in it. But Mauricio Rufy, the Brazilian, gets the big finish here in a big way. Man, the lightweight division never lets down. Number 12 beats number 9, so he'll be in the top 10 at 13-2. Lightweight division. UFC 325. Yeah, so big win last night by Fiziev, or excuse me, Mauricio Rufy. And those are your top 3, right? I mean, you had Volkanovski, Benoit Saint Denis, and Mauricio Rufy all get the job done. In fight 4, Tai Tuivasa versus Talishan Teixeira, that was a great fight. But Tuivasa couldn't get it done in front of the home crowd. He got dominated on the ground for the first 2 rounds. Then in round 3, Talis and Teixeira, both guys were basically exhausted. And that's the chance when Teixeira could have got the victory, but he just ran out of gas too, and they ended up just leaning on each other. And, the clock ran out on him. He just didn't have enough energy to get the job done. But just a phenomenal fight there as well. And then in fight 5, you had Keelan Saul killed with a big performance versus Jamie Malarkey, who kind of took the fight on short notice. Not really. He had enough time, a couple of weeks, but still considered a short notice fight for him. This is how this fight finished up. Let's see, we might have had the wrong one here. Yeah, but I could find it. So, I mean, just a crazy night in general, but here's how this fight sounded. Now, both guys tied up. We saw Killed's back up against the fence. But when he's trying to throw him, he does. Nice. Keelan lands a takedown, now takes the back. And this is where he's tough, man, on the ground. That's why he's a 12-1 favorite. Now he's looking to get underneath the Malarkey, who didn't get his hands up, was trying to fight the legs, and that was not a good decision. Oh, and you got the crank locked in here. And Malarkey has to tap. 3 minutes into this fight, Keelan Saul Kill continues his run. He moves to 11-1. And man, this guy has won 4 in a row, coming through the Contender Series, and he's just looked dominant pretty much in every fight. So Saul Kill gets the win in a fight where Malarkey kind of took this fight on somewhat short notice. He wasn't originally scheduled to fight Keelan, but he stepped in and took the fight. Keelan became a 12-1 favorite, and it makes sense. He's now 11-1. This fight didn't last long. They landed 2 takedowns on 3 attempts to get the win here in the ever-tough lightweight division at UFC 325. Yeah, so another dominant performance there. You had 7 finishes last night in 15 fights. Some of the other victories last night in the prelims, you had Billy Elikana submit Junior Tafa, Cameron Rouston TKO'd Cody Brundage, Jacob Malkoun dominated Torres Finney, a guy that was 11-0 coming in. And then in the craziest fight of the night, Jonathan McAuliffe gets the win over Oban Elliott, and people cannot believe it. Oh, no, that was the submission. I'm sorry. Okay, that was a legitimate win. The fight that people were up in arms about, and that was a win by Jonathan McAuliffe. But in the early prelims, the finale there, Con Offley got the majority win over Yiza, and people are flipping out. And when you look at the numbers, 29-28 on 2, and one judge had it 28-28. What this means is Yiza got round 2 on all 3 judges' scorecards, most likely. One of the judges gave him a 10-8 in round 2, but Offley got rounds 1 and 3, and people are flipping out. And you know how it goes with these judges, man.
These judges, dog, these judges.
The judges are just crazy, man. And people are saying all types of things about that fight. You know, check the money on that one. Now, Dom Marfan won a decision fight over Sang-Wook Kim, and these are all road to UFC finales. That was a lightweight finale. That was a good fight. Nakamura with the come from behind KO with a minute 12 left in the fight over Sebastian Zalay, who was just dominating that fight up to that point. That was the only way Nakamura could win, and he did it. Lawrence Louis in the opening fight won a split decision to move to 8-1. That was the bantamweight finale. So you had the bantamweight, featherweight, and the lightweight finale in the road to UFC all go down last night. So great night at UFC 325 in Australia. Fight of the night, Volkanovski versus Lopez. 8th title defense. He tied Jose Aldo. Saw killed, got a performance bonus of 100K. Finished 8 of his 11 wins and 4 KOs, 4 submissions. So he's a problem. Mauricio Rufy got a performance bonus of 100K as well. Santini, 4 straight finishes. And he said after his victory, the champion isn't active enough. But he was talking about the BMF belt too, which is kind of odd. So that's the way it goes. At the end of the day, Dana White dished out $425,000 in bonuses, including Alexander Volkanovski after UFC 325. And 4 of those were 25K bonuses, 3 were 100K. That's where you get the 425 from. Couple stories going on. Conor McGregor says he's done negotiating with Dana White in another post on, I believe it was X. Don't quote me on that. And then it was quickly deleted. And he says he won't come back to UFC without Ari Emanuel Chad. He wants to talk to the head of the company, not Dana White. And there's something going on. I mean, listen, the guy's 37 now, so it's getting really late in the game, but there's something there with the contract now that they went over to Paramount Plus. It might have voided McGregor's contract, so he wants a new contract. I don't know what's going on, but he wants to fight at UFC White House. And it's kind of like, I don't think Dana White's really interested in show fights at this point. The UFC has kind of moved on from McGregor, and now you're not worried about pay-per-view sales. See, that's a big thing too, is McGregor would sell pay-per-views, but you don't need to sell them anymore because you got a subscription. So the game has changed. Also, Donald Trump in the UFC news, he contradicts Dana White with 100,000 people claim for UFC White House. And listen, we've been listening to Trump for 10 years now, and a lot of times he just says something crazy off the wall. I love it, right? And he's getting you over here worried about this 100,000 people. How's that going to happen when really there's probably something going on over here? And he shifts the narrative, and he's really good at it. There's not going to be 100,000 people at UFC White House. Secret Service will lose its mind, as it probably already is. But there's not going to be 100,000 people. That's the bottom line. So those are the big stories. That's what's going on in the UFC. Again, another tremendous night in Australia at UFC 325. And that's the way this thing went down. Just another good night for sure. So that'll do it for today's show. Until next time, this is your boy Chris Cross. I hope you have a great day, and God bless. As always, peace.